The space station, star citadel of Arloon, floated above a shining gas giant like a crown of glass. It was a place where hundreds of alien species gathered every 10 years for the Celestial Concord, a council made to keep peace among the stars. Among those guests walked a single human, Captain Aaron Hale of Earth. To most of the aliens, humans were newcomers. Their ships were small, their colonies young, and their reach still close to their home star. Some saw them as curious, others as brave, and a few saw them as noisy children who talked too much. Aaron knew all of this. He carried it in his calm smile and straight posture as he entered the hall of marble white stone and silver light. Aaron was not a soldier today. He wore the dark blue uniform of a diplomat, his Earth flag stitched near his heart. Years of studying alien languages had shaped him into more than a translator. He had learned how words carried emotion, culture, and truth. The hall shimmered with light as alien nobles turned to see the human arrive. At the far end sat the delegation of the Kyle-Thari Empire, a race known for elegance and pride. Their voices were smooth and musical, their bodies tall and covered with faint scales that caught the light like gold dust. At their center sat Princess Sareth Varn Kale. She was young by Kyle-Thari years, but her presence ruled the hall. A silver crest decorated her forehead, and her long robe flowed like liquid metal. Her eyes, golden and bright, seemed to study everything and everyone as if measuring their worth. When Aaron approached, the announcer's voice rang out. Captain Aaron Hale, envoy of the Terran Union. Sareth rose from her seat and smiled politely. Ah, the human ambassador. Welcome to Arloon. Her words came in intergalactic common, the shared tongue of the conquered, but her tone carried the confidence of someone used to being admired. Aaron bowed slightly. Your Highness, it's an honor to meet you. His accent, though clear, had the rounded vowels of Earth's speech. Sareth's smile deepened, and a soft laugh escaped her. Your tongue trips over the vowels, she said, turning to the nobles beside her. It seems humans are still learning how to speak properly. A few quiet chuckles followed. Aaron's face stayed calm. He had been laughed at before, on more worlds than he could count. He only nodded and answered kindly. Languages take time, Princess. But we humans are good at learning. The princess lifted a delicate brow. So I've heard. The conversation moved on to trade and science, but the laughter still echoed in the air. Aaron listened carefully, his mind filing away every sound and rhythm in the princess's voice. She spoke with an effortless fluency of common, but here and there, when she turned to her advisors, Aaron caught glimpses of another language, an older one. He knew it instantly. Kale-Thari, the sacred language of her people. Few outsiders had ever heard it. Fewer still could pronounce it. That evening, the grand banquet began. Tables stretched beneath floating chandeliers of soft blue fire. The guests dined on food from 100 worlds, crystal fruits, glowing nectar, and roasted grain that smelled faintly like cinnamon. Aaron sat near the center, surrounded by diplomats and scientists. He stayed quiet, listening to the music drifting through the air, a gentle melody with rising notes that reminded him of desert winds. The Kale-Thari band played it on shimmering instruments that changed color with every chord. He recognized the tune. It was an ancient Kale-Thari song of honor. While others clapped politely, Aaron hummed a few notes under his breath, following its rhythm exactly. The alien beside him, a scholar from the Veiled Dominion, turned in surprise. You know that melody? Aaron smiled. I studied it in old recordings. Before the scholar could reply, a sudden argument broke out near the head table. Two Kale-Thari nobles, each wearing robes marked with different sigils, stood facing each other. Their voices rose sharply, speaking not in common but in a dialect so old that the translation drone stuttered and failed. Guests looked around in confusion. Some translators produced broken phrases like honor, stolen, exile, but the meaning was lost. Princess Sareth stood quickly. Enough, she commanded, her golden eyes flashing. You bring shame to the royal table. But the nobles kept shouting. One accused the other of betraying a sacred oath. The other denied it with fiery words. Aaron's hand tightened around his glass. He could understand every word. The dialect they used was High Kyle-Thari, a ceremonial form spoken only in royal courts centuries ago. He had studied it through old archives, analyzing patterns in forgotten songs and texts. His heart pounded. Every instinct told him to stay silent, but his sense of duty told him otherwise. He stood, "Your Highness," he said softly. The crowd's noise lowered. "May I speak?" Sareth blinked in surprise. "You, Captain? This is not your quarrel." "Perhaps not," Aaron replied, "but I understand their words." A murmur rippled through the room. The two nobles stopped shouting, their eyes narrowing in disbelief. Aaron stepped forward and spoke. Not in common, not in the soft accent of earth, but in perfect Kelthari. His voice rolled through the hall deep and clear, every syllable carrying the rhythm of ancient poetry. The air changed. The glowing light seemed to pause, the musicians froze mid-note. He spoke calmly, translating the heart of their argument. The first noble accuses the second of breaking a promise given before the moon of renewal. The second denies it, saying his vow was to protect the princess, not the council's pride. He asks that his honor be judged by truth, not envy. His pronunciation was flawless, his tone noble yet gentle. Then, in the old ceremonial phrase of the Kelthari court, he said, "Let truth be the mirror of honor, and let peace return to those who have carried it for generations." For a long moment, no one moved. Then one of the nobles slowly lowered his head. "He speaks our tongue," the alien whispered. "Perfectly," the other did the same. "He speaks as if born among us." Princess Sareth's lips parted slightly. Her eyes, which once shone with playful mockery, now reflected shock. And something else, a glimmer of respect. Aaron finished with a polite bow. "Perhaps," he said in common now, "our human tongues are not so clumsy after all." A quiet laugh, nervous but admiring, passed through the crowd. Then applause filled the hall, soft at first, then stronger. Even the elder nobles of the Kelthari bowed their heads toward him. Sareth remained silent for a few seconds longer. When she finally spoke, her voice was softer than before. "You speak our sacred language." How Aaron met her eyes. "Because it's beautiful," he said simply, "and beauty deserves to be understood." For the first time that night, the princess had no reply. The music started again, slower and more graceful than before. Aaron returned to his seat, heart still steady, expression calm. Around him, whispers spread like wind. The human who spoke the royal tongue, the man who knew forgotten words. Sareth watched him from across the hall, her golden eyes filled with curiosity.
She was no longer laughing. She had mocked his accent once.
But now she wanted to know everything about the human who had made her own people's words sound alive again. And as the night went on, something subtle shifted inside her. A realization that this quiet man from a small blue planet might not be as simple as he seemed. The next morning, the star citadel of Arloon glowed with quiet light. Ships from 100 worlds hovered around it like tiny suns. But inside the great marble halls, there was only one name on everyone's lips: Captain Aaron Hale of Earth. The human who had spoken Kelthari, the ancient and sacred tongue, had become the most talked about being in the Concord overnight. Some thought he had stolen the words through secret technology. Others claimed it was luck or mimicry. But, to those who had heard him, it was something else entirely: respect. He had spoken not just with knowledge, but with understanding. Princess Sareth Varn Kyle could not forget the sound of it. All night she replayed it in her mind. The way he had shaped each word, the calm tone, the old ceremonial rhythm that even her own court priests struggled to recite correctly. A human had made her language sing again. When the morning came, she dismissed her attendants and found him alone. Aaron stood on the observation deck, hands folded behind his back, watching the gas giant below. Its golden clouds swirled slowly, storm after storm, moving like silent oceans of light. His reflection shimmered in the glass, a calm, thoughtful man who looked both small and infinite against the stars. "You should not be here alone," Sareth said gently. "After last night, half the station wants to meet you." Aaron turned and bowed. "Your Highness." She walked closer, her silver robes whispering across the floor. "How?" she asked simply. "How could a human speak Kelthari that way? No one outside our empire can do that, not even our allies." Aaron smiled faintly. "I studied your old records, songs, poems, fragments of speeches. Your people recorded everything beautifully. It took years to piece together the grammar and rhythm. But grammar is not enough," she said. "You spoke it as if you felt it. He looked out the window again. That's what humans do best. We feel what others mean even before we fully understand it. It's how we survive. Sareth said nothing for a moment. In my world, she whispered, our language is taught through ceremony and bloodlines. It carries our history. For you to learn it on your own, it's impossible. Aaron gave a small shrug. Maybe. But I believe every language is just a way of reaching someone's heart. Once you listen long enough, you start to hear what words really want to say. She studied him closely, her golden eyes softening. No arrogance, no pride, only calm truth. You speak like a poet, Captain Hale, she said. He chuckled lightly. I used to be a teacher before I joined the fleet. Words were my tools. Then you are a strange kind of warrior, she said. Perhaps, he replied. Sometimes the strongest weapon is a word used wisely. They stood together in silence, watching the endless clouds below. For the first time, Sareth felt no barrier between alien and human, noble and newcomer. There was only understanding, but peace never lasts long in the galaxy. By afternoon, alarms echoed through the Citadel. A dispute had broken out between two great powers, the Vial Dominion and the Kyle-Thari Empire. The Vial accused the Kyle-Thari of breaking a promise from an old alliance. The Kyle-Thari denied it fiercely. Both sides threatened to withdraw from the conquered. If either left, the entire council might collapse. The main hall filled again. Representatives from dozens of races shouted in confusion. The Council of Voices, a circle of elder ambassadors, struggled to control the noise. Princess Sareth entered, her presence commanding silence. My people did not break faith, she declared. The Dominion misreads our treaty. The Vial envoy, a tall being with silver skin and deep-set eyes, pointed at her. Your empire insulted our delegation and denied us trade access. That is breach enough. Voices rose again. Translators failed to keep up. Words turned sharp, tones hostile. Aaron stood at the edge of the chamber watching. He could see how easily pride and misunderstanding could destroy everything. The council mediator, a machine intelligence that usually handled disputes, had already given up. It could not interpret the mixed dialects and emotional tones flooding the room. Then Princess Sareth's voice rang out, clear and bold. We need a neutral translator, she said. One who knows both our tongues. I nominate Captain Aaron Hale of Earth. Gasps rippled through the chamber. A human? Someone whispered. An outsider? Another shouted. Unacceptable, cried the Veil envoy. Aaron hesitated, but Sareth looked directly at him. Captain Hale, you spoke our ancient language better than our own priests. If there is anyone who can untangle this, it is you. He stepped forward slowly. If both sides will allow me, he said calmly, I'll do my best to make your words understood. The Veil envoy folded his arms. We will see what this human can do. The council chamber quieted. Aaron took his place in the center between the two factions. He raised his hand slightly, not to command, but to steady the rhythm of speech. Then he began. He spoke first in Common, then in Vial, and finally in Kyle-Thari, switching languages as easily as a musician changing notes. His voice stayed calm and warm, shaping each word carefully so its meaning carried through. When the Vial ambassador accused, Aaron turned to the Kyle-Thari and translated not the anger, but the fear behind the words, fear of losing trust, fear of war. When the Kyle-Thari replied with pride, he translated not their arrogance but their pain, the pain of being misunderstood, the pain of being accused unjustly. The hall grew still. No one dared interrupt. Through his translations, both sides began to see what the other truly meant. The hostility softened. The tension faded. Then Aaron did something no translator had ever done before. He merged all three languages together in a single speech, using the rhythm of Kyle-Thari, the clarity of Common, and the structure of Vial. The result was a living bridge of words that every listener could understand, even those whose translators had failed. He ended with a simple phrase, spoken in the tongue of Earth. Peace only lives when understanding speaks. The silence that followed was deep and long. The Vial envoy bowed his head first. "The Dominion withdraws its accusation," he said quietly. "We have been heard." Then Sereth bowed too. "And we accept the hand of trust renewed." The council erupted in applause. Soft, respectful, thunderous. For the first time in its history, the Celestial Concord had seen a human resolve what no ancient race could. After the session ended, Aaron left the chamber quietly. He didn't crave fame. He just wanted silence, stars, and a little peace. But as he stepped onto the balcony overlooking the station's core, he heard a soft voice behind him. "You changed history today," said Princess Sereth. He turned, smiling gently. "I only helped people talk." She walked closer, her expression thoughtful. "You don't understand what you did. For centuries, my people have believed our language belongs only to us. Today, you proved it belongs to anyone willing to listen." Aaron looked up at the stars. "Words aren't walls," he said softly. "They're doors. You just have to walk through them." Sereth studied him in silence. Her golden eyes glowed with quiet respect. Then, slowly, she did something few had ever seen a Kael'thari royal do. She bowed her head. "To a man of words," she said, "and a teacher of hearts." Aaron chuckled softly. "I'm just human, Princess." She smiled faintly. "Then perhaps being human is not such a small thing after all." The soft hum of the citadel filled the space around them. Beyond the glass, stars turned slowly, countless worlds waiting to be understood. Aaron stood there beside her, two beings from distant worlds united not by power or conquest, but by language, empathy, and respect. Somewhere deep in the halls of the Concord, an old melody began to play, the same Kael'thari song of honor that had filled the banquet the night before. This time Sereth listened closely, and when the chorus rose, she whispered under her breath, "Now I hear it too." Aaron smiled. "Good," he said. "It's the sound of peace." The music carried through the corridors, spreading like a soft wind across the citadel, a song not of one world or one empire, but of many voices learning to speak as one. For the first time in its long history, the Concord felt truly united, and at its center stood a quiet man from a small blue planet who had reminded the galaxy that humanity's greatest strength was not its weapons or ships, but its heart.